to get the win. The Habs took to the ice to battle the Sabres. Buffalo toppled their opponents with a big offensive night. We are as cool as ice, and we are bringing you many more stories from the NHL. We're doing it next.
In the overtime period.
Scores! They win it in overtime, and not all heroes wear capes! Look at the celebration! What a great effort tonight!
They really moved the puck well on the odd man rush, and now they find the exposed player, and that puck is in the back of the net. That's perfectly played.
Well, some fun, some drama, a little bit of everything on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at some of those scores around the league. The Hurricanes took on the Islanders. Carolina put in a strong effort. They needed extra time, and they still get the overtime win. Let's check in on some of the other scores around the league. The Flyers took to the ice for a collision with the Oilers. Now let's take a look at some of the rest of the action tonight in the NHL. The Panthers were looking to grab points on the road against the Sabres. Florida puts up a strong defensive front when it mattered most, and they get the win. The Kraken paired up with the Predators. Seattle turned it up a notch in their defensive game, and they pick up the shutout victory. The Jets had their hands full with the Ducks. Anaheim pops like popcorn in this one, and they skate away with the win. Hey, a few more hot button issues we got to get to. It's a jam-packed show tonight. Stick around. All right, let's take a look at some of the final scores in the league tonight. The Canes were in a dogfight on the road against the Bruins. Carolina takes this one in a tightly contested affair and the bragging rights to go with it. The Red Wings had a tall order to fill as they tried to take two on the road against the Sharks. San Jose partied it up with a big offensive display. The Wild played a game against the Avalanche. Minnesota, too much to handle on this night, and they pick up the 2 points. We got to take a quick pause for the cause, but we got a lot more coming up on the other side. Stay with us. Well, let's take a look at how the standings were impacted with some of the final scores around the league tonight. The Hurricanes battled it out against the Flyers. Philadelphia powers through in a tight one. The Stars faced off against the Red Wings. Detroit tightened it up late in their own end and did enough to preserve the win. The Wild paired up with the Devils. New Jersey pounded home the winner in overtime. Lots more puck talk coming your way, and we'll get to it next. Let's check in on some of the final scores across the league tonight. The Devils took to the road to match up with the Hurricanes. Carolina pulls this one out in overtime. The Blackhawks had an on-ice collision with the Coyotes. Chicago took this one. Let's take a look around the league and some of the final scores out there tonight. The Avalanche played on the road against the Maple Leafs. Toronto pulled this one out, needing a shootout to get the extra point. Let's take a look at the rest of the action on the ice tonight in the National Hockey League. The Hurricanes were hoping to grab 2 points up against the Jets. Carolina powers their way to victory thanks to the OT winner. All right, at this time, everyone, we'll catch you up on what went down in all the action in the league tonight. The Bruins were on the road to take on the Ducks. Boston trampled their opponents with a big offensive night. The Rangers were hoping to come up with 2 points on the road against the Golden Knights. The New York Rangers took it to the net in this one, and they pick up the win. The Islanders were in a dogfight on the road up against the Maple Leafs. The New York Islanders took it to the net in this one, and they pick up the win. Lots more still to come, including the story in MMA, the hardwood, and more. Stay with us. Busy night of action on the ice. Let's take a look at some of the finals that are in from tonight. The Kings were looking to steal 2 points against the Wild. Los Angeles pulls one out in a tightly contested affair. The Jets were hoping their offense would show up in a big way against the Oilers. Winnipeg totally dominant in this one, scoring at will, it seemed, in the win. The Sharks took to the ice to lock up with the Blues. San Jose put on a show in this one, winning big. We'll check the inbox, we'll check the text line, and hear what you have to say next. Well, busy night in the National Hockey League. Let's see what happened elsewhere on the ice. The Predators went toe-to-toe on the road against the Devils. New Jersey takes the win in a very close game. The Stars were hoping to fly high on the road against the Kraken. Seattle put in a gritty effort and were able to scratch out the victory. The Senators took to the road to match up with the Lightning. Tampa toughed this one out, and they get the win. Hey, we got to take a quick pause for the cause, but we got a lot more on the other side. Don't even think about leaving us. All right, let's go around the horn and see what happened elsewhere around the NHL tonight. The Panthers faced off with the Stars. Florida persevered through the night, and they get the shootout win. The Avs were on the road up against the Kings. Colorado tramples their opponents with a big offensive night. The Flames were hoping to play spoiler against the Coyotes. Calgary pressed on, always persevered, and they get the win. We got to take a quick break, everybody, but we've got a lot more to get to. Stay with us. right, lots of wild happenings on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at some of the scores of what went down. The Penguins were hoping to quiet the crowd on the road against the Hurricanes. Carolina pressed when they had to, and they pick up the extra time win. Time to look at what was happening elsewhere in the NHL schedule. The Flyers were on the road to take on the Islanders. Philadelphia took the W in a close one. The Leafs were hoping to take a bite out of the Jets. Winnipeg posts a victory thanks to a strong offensive display. A very special guest drops by on the show, and we'll do that next. All right, let's get all you poolies and all you hockey fans caught up on all the action out on the ice tonight. The Blackhawks were in tough with the Panthers. Florida turns in a defensive masterpiece in the shutout victory. The Kraken played on the road against the Kings. Seattle pummels the opposition into submission with a big offensive night. The Pens look to run roughshod over the Canadiens. Pittsburgh tore it up on the ice. It almost seemed like everybody got in on the scoring in the win. Time for a quick break, but we got a lot more coming up on the ice next.
execution on this odd man rush. You find the open player, you drive the middle of the ice, you create a seam, and you execute it perfectly.
Okay, everybody, let's take a quick look at some of the final scores around the league tonight. The Wild played a game against the Hurricanes. Carolina pops in the OT winner and skate off with a 2-point victory. Was there any volatility in the standings across the NHL tonight? Well, let's take a look at some of the final scores to find out. The Bees were looking to steal 2 against the Blue Jackets. Columbus turns in a complete effort, and it's enough to pick up the win. The Flames took to the ice to battle the Sharks. San Jose proved to be a little too much to handle in this night. The Ducks took on the Coyotes. Arizona takes this one after coming up big in the shootout. Don't even think about touching that dial or touching that button. We've got plenty more on the ice, and that's next. Those were pretty pointed comments from the coaching staff to say, hey, look, you need to tighten it up on the ice. You are way too undisciplined out there. We've tried to talk to you about this, and you're not getting the message. I don't know what's next, but I would think that maybe some playing time that could be shaved if you're not going to listen to what the coaching staff's telling you. But look, too many reckless penalties. It's hurting the team. But I thought it was pretty public from the coach's sentiment there, from those comments, that he needs to tighten it up. All right, meantime, some other interesting comments around the NHL here. Let's take a look at the scoreboard and what went down tonight on the ice. The Isles took to the ice for a collision with the Hurricanes. Carolina pulverizes their opponents with a big offensive effort. Let's take a look at this time at some of the other final results around the league tonight. The Rangers were looking to grab points on the road against the Avalanche. Colorado tops the opposition in a game that had a little bit of everything on this night. The Kings had their hands full with the Jets. Winnipeg plays the role of destroyer in the win. We got a jam-packed show. We've got a lot more stuff we got to get to, so don't even think about going anywhere. Stay with us. Hey, no shortage of action and drama on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at what happened elsewhere. The Stars were in a dogfight on the road against the Avalanche. Dallas tosses home the overtime winner and celebrate the 2-point victory. The Wild paired up with the Ducks. Minnesota pulls this one out in the shootout. The Predators had a tall order to fill as they tried to take 2 on the road against the Kings. Los Angeles topples their opponents with a strong offensive effort. We got to take a quick break, but we got a lot more coming your way next. All right, at this time, let's get you caught up on all the action on the ice tonight. The Canes battled it out against the Canadiens. Montreal posts the win in a game that went back and forth all night. The Yotes faced off against the Avalanche. Arizona treated everybody to a brilliant offensive display. The Ducks took to the road to match up with the Predators. Anaheim puts on a clinical offensive display in the win. The story on the ice continues in a moment. Great night to be on the couch and watching hockey. Tons of scores around the league. Let's take a look at what went down. The Capitals had an on-ice collision with the Stars. Washington topples the opposition with a big offensive effort, as they're known to do. Don't go anywhere. We've got much more here on the show. Time to take a look at what happened around the league as we check in on some of the scores. The Bruins were hoping to grab 2 points up against the Flyers. Philadelphia pounds the opposition into submission with a big goal-scoring night. The Jets were on the road to take on the Wild. Winnipeg turns in one. You know, I'll tell you what, another storyline to watch, and for somebody who loves offense, I love this as he could hit 100 points on the season. What a remarkable number, what a remarkable achievement to hit that century mark. That is still a special mark in the National Hockey League. Well, some fun, some drama, a little bit of everything on the ice tonight. Let's take a look at some of those scores around the league. The Flames were hoping to come up with 2 points on the road against the Kings. Los Angeles pulverized the competition with this one. The Penguins were in a dogfight on the road up against the Blue Jackets. Pittsburgh turns in a strong effort and they pick up the win. The Lightning played a game against the Sabres. Tampa Bay pounded their opponents into submission with a huge offensive effort. Lots more to get to on the ice. Stay with us, everybody. Now let's take a look at some of the rest of the action tonight in the NHL. The Hurricanes were looking to steal 2 points against the Senators. Carolina trusted the system, they stayed with it, and they pull out the win. Well, that's all she wrote for this one, but let's get you caught up on some of the other finals in the matchups tonight. The Flyers were hoping their offense would show up in a big way against the Devils. Philadelphia posts the 2 points after coming up clutch in the skills competition in the shootout. The Bulls took to the ice to lock up with the Panthers. Florida takes this one in a fun one. Hey, we got to pay a couple of bills here, but we got a lot more action we got to get to. Stay with us. You know, when you look at the run that he has had over the course of his career, I mean, he's already built a pretty good resume to make a case for the Hall of Fame. Couple of Stanley Cups, has just been an absolute cornerstone for this franchise. But I also think he's not done yet, right? Like, I'm not ready to retire him just yet. I'm personally speaking. And hey, look, they're divisional champions. And that is the first time that he has helped contribute to a banner that will hang in this home arena, right? He was part of that. You know, all the history, when you show up to an arena and you see all that stuff for the first time, when you join a franchise and you hope to be part of that, he's now officially part of team history, right? Where he'll be part of having that banner. And I don't know if the banners, winning the divisional title means as much as it did to me generationally years ago.
Children's Playroom at City Hospital, providing a safe, fun environment for kids visiting long-term care cases. That's where more sports go at. Please visit our team website.
when you get into this position, that puck's got to be off your stick in a hurry. You don't have much time to think about it.
I had 9 of these, James. It is such a cool thing to score 3. You feel so good about yourself.
They'd really have to screw this up now, James, to lose. The empty netter should put it away.